Cookin. I'm your hostess, Cindy Schumacher. On today's show, we'll be making salmon with lemon pepper, a Jack Daniel's glaze, fettuccine de Young, silver glazed spinach salad, and a holiday trifle. So we're going to start with the Jack Daniel's glaze because that takes quite a while because you want to reduce it by half. So I'm going to start with 1.3 cups of Pat's dark brown sugar, 1 cup of pineapple juice, 1/2 cup of water, 1/4 cup of teriyaki sauce, and a tablespoon of soy sauce. Although they look the same, they aren't the same, so make sure that you don't confuse the two. I'm going to stir it all up, and then we're going to let it come to a simmer. Bring it to a boil, we're going to reduce the heat, and then let it simmer for a little while, and then we'll add the rest of our ingredients. So, the pasta is 8 ounces of spinach pasta. I could not find green spinach pasta in my store, so I'm using regular fettuccine. We're going to bring the water to a boil, and then we'll dump it in. So I'm going to take a quick break while I clean up the mess over here. We'll be right back.
Blazing fast broadband internet from Valley is now available and better than ever. Let us help you decide which speed is best for you. The 50 meg speed would be sufficient for 1 to 4 devices, mainly emailing and surfing the web. Our 100 meg speed works great for 5 to 8 devices and multiple users streaming and downloading video. If you have 8 devices or more that are simultaneously streaming or gaming, or if you have a medium-sized business, the 250 meg speed would work best for you. For extreme heavy home or work from home use, or if you have a medium to large business using 15 or more devices, you may want to consider our 500 meg download speed to fit your needs. And if you're a home or business that needs it all, we have our 1000 meg 1 gig broadband internet speed. Call our office today at 437-2615 and talk with one of our staff members to pick the speed that's best for you.
The Jack Daniel's sauce has come to a boil, so I reduced it, and we're going to start adding the rest of the ingredients. So I pre-roasted some garlic. I took a head of garlic. You slice the top off of it so that all the toes are exposed, baste it with olive oil, and bake it in the oven at about 400 degrees. Takes about an hour. I did that last night to save us a little time. So I'm going to press about 2 teaspoons of the garlic into the sauce here. Roasting the garlic gives it a much more mellow flavor than raw garlic does. So it's just a kind of gentler dose of garlic into what you're cooking. So also to this now, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, a tablespoon of crushed pineapple, you can use fresh squeezed lemon juice if you have fresh lemons. I'm just using the real lemon today. Tablespoon of Jack Daniel's. It's a Tennessee whiskey. If you would rather use like a bourbon or something like that, that will still work. A 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. 3 tablespoons of minced onion I've got over here. Okay, now we're going to bring this to a simmer. Again, I'm going to raise the heat a little bit. Bring it to a simmer, and we want to reduce it by about half. Got my pasta cooking. I want to just check the texture of it. You want your pasta to be just slightly undercooked because we're going to be baking it. So I think it's about ready. For my strainer. And then we're gonna, when I take that off the stove, I'll be able to start with the sauce for the pasta. I'm gonna start with a half cup of unsalted butter and 3 tablespoons of green onion. And then I'm going to use fresh garlic here in this. 3 cloves. If you don't have fresh garlic, you can use the garlic in the jar. Okay, to this I'm going to add a half cup of half and half and 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. We're going to stir that around in there and get it coated, and then we'll set it aside while we work on the rest of the ingredients. Start this going. Now, if you want a copy of any of these recipes that we're making today, if you don't have internet, give the girls at Valley a call. They'll be happy to help you with a copy of the recipe. If you do have internet, you just go to the Valley homepage, www.valleytel.net, and click on the Country Cooking Cow. You'll find all the recipes there. I'm going to take a quick break while I clean up, and then we'll get going with the rest of this pasta. I'll be right back. Okay, we're going to start adding the rest of the things to the pasta sauce. I have 3/4 cup of breadcrumbs, and I have I don't know if I've shared this with you before or not, but anytime I have bread that is old, or kind of a French bread loaf or something that I'm not going to be using anymore, I put it in the blender, and it makes such nice fine breadcrumbs that it's just wonderful. And then I put it in a Ziploc bag and freeze it. What I've got here is white wine. I like to buy wine for cooking in these little bottles, because then you don't feel like you're opening up a whole bottle of wine if you aren't going to be drinking it or something. This is, then it's about 3/4 cup of wine in that. So I'm going to add half cup to this. And 12 small pitted ripe olives that I have sliced into little rings. Parmesan cheese. And then a 4th cup of, it calls for Italian parsley. I have my own parsley, but it's just regular, small curled leaf parsley, but it has essentially the same flavor, so. Going to cook that up a few minutes. Now, I've got the fettuccine that I have tossed with the half and half and with a 4th cup of butter. And I'm going to just put that in the bottom of the dish. We're going to top it with this mixture. Now, if you don't have green onions and you want just a little more of a, my husband actually likes this dish using regular yellow onions, chopped, diced, and he likes that flavor, and that works just fine too. So you might want to try a variation sometime if that's what it looks like. We're going to bake it at 375 for about 25 minutes or so, 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Valley is now offering updated digital TV packages and prices. Call Valley today at 437-2615.
I have salmon right here. We're going to baste it with olive oil. I just goes a little bit down and spread it out. And we're going to bake that at 375 for about anywhere from 20 minutes to a half an hour. It just depends on your oven. I'm using lemon pepper on there. I'm going to sprinkle it with lemon pepper. And about halfway through, I'm going to start basting it with the Jack Daniel's glaze, and then we'll serve the Jack Daniel's glaze on the side. Get this in the oven. And I also have a 4th cup of sliced almonds that I'm going to pop in the oven. We're just going to toast them for, because my oven's at 375, probably only about 8 minutes or so. We got to watch them real closely because you don't want them to burn. So we'll get going on the salad. I have a bag of spinach that I have stemmed. Remember, I always tell you, make sure you stem your spinach because someone could choke and it just doesn't look very nice. So we've got the spinach that we've stemmed. To that we're going to throw in, I've got julienne stripped Swiss cheese, 6 ounces. That might be a little bit much for you. You can just kind of eye it. And the same thing with cheddar cheese. And then I have 2 cups of grapes that I have sliced, and I've used half green and half red. So the salad tends to be a lot more of other things rather than just spinach, but it makes kind of a fun salad for the holidays because it is so colorful. I'm going to kind of just toss it around like that. So it kind of looks like that. It's just kind of something fun, something different that you don't see at everybody's house. Okay, we're gonna mix up the dressing. I'm gonna start with a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar and a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. Put the lid back on and do some squeezing. Two tablespoons of light brown sugar. I'm going to give those a stir to try to dissolve that sugar just a little bit. Okay, to that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of green onions. In this type of a situation, I prefer to use more of the green tops rather than the white onion parts, because I just think it looks better and it's a little milder. And then 4 slices of bacon that have been fried and crumbled. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the refrigerator and let it chill down while we're waiting for everything else to get done. I'm going to take a quick break and wash this up over here. Be right back. I'm going to baste the salmon with some of the glaze. To rinse this out because we need it again. Okay, we're gonna make the truffle now. I have the recipe calls for a frozen pound cake, which our store didn't have one, so I usually make my own pound cake, but in this instance, I found a cake mix that Betty Crocker has one, and so I baked the pound cake out of the Betty Crocker cake mix. It's going to just save you a lot of time instead of going through all the steps that you normally have to go through. So what you want to do first is spread seedless raspberry jam on top of your pound cake slices, like this. I have to confess, I could not find seedless raspberry jam, so I'm using my own homemade choke cherry jam, which is gonna give you that same tartness that raspberry jam does, and it's gonna give you the exact same color. So I think we're gonna be fine substituting it. And then depending on the size of your bowl, what you wanna do when you're doing something like this is find a tall glass bowl, something on this order, so that you can see the layers. So after you get the jam spread on, you want to slice them into cubes. so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to take these and place them as much as you can with the jam side up. And you want to make it about a double layer. I'm going to press it down a little bit. Let's see what we're doing here. I'm going to mix up the pudding. I'm just using, you can do your own, make your own pudding. You can do cook and serve. I'm just using instant. It sets up nice and fast, and it always tastes good. So I'm going to throw 2 packets in here. Toss in 4 cups of milk. And then you want to just follow the package directions. You whisk for about 2 minutes till it sets up. And then what I'm going to do is put half of it on top of this. Then I'm going to do half of my raspberries. And then I'm going to do, I baked, actually I made my own brownies from scratch, but you can make a brownie mix. You won't need the whole thing unless you make a batch of brownies that's just an 8 by 8. But then I also cut those into cubes like this. And so then we'll make a brownie layer. Give it a little drama. I'm going to whisk this for a couple of minutes, so we'll take a break while I'm finishing this up. We'll be right back.
Internet is here. Valley now has higher broadband speeds of up to 1 gigabit. Get the bandwidth you need for all your devices at one time. Gaming with no lag time. Video stream your favorite movies instantly in HD quality. Video chat with friends and family without interruption. Download your favorite music and photos in seconds. All on our 100% fiber optics network. Valley offers managed Wi-Fi and backup services too, bringing together all the services you need. Valley Telecommunications Cooperative.
I'm going to take about half of the pudding. Oops. We want to drizzle about a 1/4 cup of orange juice on top of this. If you want to do something like an amaretto or something like that, you can do that too. But the orange juice with the raspberry is kind of a nice combination. So we're going to put about half of this pudding on top. Spread it over. Make sure you get all the way to the edge so that you can see the layer. I have a little bit of a mess here. You can just leave that kind of stuff, but for me, I'm just enough of a detailed person that I want to clean that up a little. Okay, so next we have the raspberries. If you can find fresh ones, that's great. If you have frozen, that is just fine too. So I'm going to do a layer of raspberries, and once again, you want to make sure you go all the way to the edge so you can see the layer. Takes about, actually I bought the raspberries frozen, so it takes 2 packages. Okay, now our next layer is going to be the brownie cubes, and Once again, like I said, you'll make a brownie mix, or if you want to make your brownies from scratch, that's fine. Like I said, it takes actually about an 8x8 pan to give you a full layer. And chocolate and raspberries is always a good combination, and it gives you a little more drama in your presentation. Again, you want to make sure that you've got your edges covered. I'm going to press it just a little bit, and we're going to do the rest of the pudding on top of that. The fun thing about doing something like this is there's so many variations that you can use. You can actually do like a chocolate and peanut butter and layer like Reese's peanut butter cups in there or something like that. So do a brownie layer and maybe a layer of the Reese's peanut butter cups, or something like that, and depending on who you're serving. And make sure you got pudding all the way to the edge. Okay, we're going to put the rest of the raspberries on top of that. Go all the way to the edge. Do the edge first so that you don't run out. Now to top it off, we're going to whip 1 cup of whipping cream, and once we get that to start setting up, we're going to stir in 2 tablespoons of confectioner sugar, powdered sugar. You can also use Cool Whip or, a non-dairy whipped topping if you would rather. Pretty good. If you want to do something really fancy, you can buy the whipped cream in the spray can and do some peaks or some mounds. You can just use your imagination. Like I've said many times, make the recipe your own. If you have an idea that you think you might like to do, go ahead and do it. Just have some fun. And looks like we got right to the top of the bowl. Add the toasted almonds here. If you're doing something for kids, you can sprinkle some colored sugar or something on there, something like that. And there you go. We're going to take a quick break and clean up, and we'll be just about ready to eat. Be right back.
At Valley Telecommunications, we pride ourselves in providing the home team advantage. But what does that mean? It means going above and beyond to take care of our customers' needs by providing exceptional customer service, because helping you helps all of us. As a cooperative, each time you subscribe to our services, you are investing in our community, which allows all of us to build and benefit from the newest technologies. Make the switch today to Valley Telecommunications and experience the home team advantage.
Okay, we're ready to serve. I'm going to toss the salad. Okay. Oops. This is I'll put it on the dessert plate. This is the tricky part. Because you're going to want to dig down as deep as you can so that you get all the way down to the pound cake. So did a pretty good job. There we go. We have our salmon with lemon pepper and a Jack Daniel's glaze, our fettuccine de young, our silver glazed spinach salad, and our holiday truffle. Thank you for joining us today on this edition of Country Cooking. We wish you a very Merry Christmas, and we hope to see you next time.